everybody. For some unknown reason, there's a serious lag today. Let me see here. I can't make. That's really weird. Okay. I'm just checking things. I'll be with you in just a minute. Right this minute, I'm just trying to make the computer work. Okay. If anybody's there, you could let me know in chat, because honestly, I can't tell if this is going live or not. My internet seems to be really, really lagging again. It's supposed to be working. It says it's working. That doesn't mean it is. So, Hi, Phyllis. You can see me? Oh, good. Okay. Well, because my screen was black for a few minutes there. So, thank you for letting me know, Phyllis. I appreciate it. I'm just cutting some paper. I'll explain kind of why later, but right this minute. Okay, so you're not going to let me cut you that way? Oh, no. Please don't do that. Okay. So let's not be caught. Let's not be doing this. I don't want to do it that way. Shoot. Nothing's going to be easy today, I guess. That's interesting. It appears that this 12 by 12 paper is bigger than 12. Hi, Barbara. So I guess what I'm going to do is just cut it as best I can, and then we will go from there. And I'll sort of explain this in a little bit, but I have several things I want to try to do to just kind of get myself a little more organized. This is just not going to work. I guess maybe this isn't going to work this way. Maybe I just am going to have to do something different. Shoot. I'll show it to you in just a second. Let me cut these apart. See if a different piece of cardstock will actually work, or if I'm going to have to give up on this. This seems to be the way today is going, though. Where is it? Okay. I have a lot of punches like this, border punches. They're a pain to get in and out. I can't use them just like grab one and use it right this minute to do something. So I've been thinking for a while about trying to set up something where I could punch stuff out ahead of time, have it punched out, have it in a tub, kind of like my, I have decided I don't like notebooks. Just don't like notebooks. Some people do. I don't. I have found that there are these tubs at Dollar Tree. They're about 8 inches tall and they're angled a little bit. There's other things I could use. I've even got a box right now because I don't have enough. I don't have but one tub. Anyways, I like it because these page protectors will stand up in it and then I can flip. Kind of like I did with the container that my stamps are in the other day. So what I did was I took a page protector and I divided it in half and I sewed it with my sewing machine. Can you see that? Yeah. And then I did put in a piece of cardstock because I want it to stand up and I want it to move back and forth. And then these were ones I already had cut out, had done before. And what I did was one side is where I've got it just on one half of it. The other piece is where I've got it cut out double. See, like this one. This is the same scallop, but this one's only single and this one's double. The double ones can be used for like belly bands or just all kinds of little odds and ends. I think they would be fun on a tag and other things, but I want to like cut a bunch of different colors. Okay, I've done something with my thing. Okay. Yeah, and I did it with my stamps. I've got stamps. I've got my embossing folders. I've got my stencils. Now I'm got to work on my cutting dies. Because right now my cutting dies are not what I want. I only did one of these just to show you. So I have to do a bunch more. That's one other thing I could do. You have to measure and then you have to cut and do stuff like that. So that's something I could do, I guess. But let's see if one of these other pieces of paper fits better because dang, that piece did not. And if they're all going to be hard to cut on this cutter, I'm going to have to get out a bigger cutter, I guess. So that's not going to work. Yeah, see, for some unknown reason, this cutter's not 12 inches. I don't think this one has a cutter in it. No, it doesn't. Got rid of that one. Okay, well, I guess I'm not going to cut this paper. Maybe I'll cut. I know what I can cut. I can cut up. When you cut these, you want the inside piece of cardstock that you're using to make it stiff. You want it a little smaller, so I have to cut it. And I had some out, so maybe I can go ahead and just do a few of those while I'm waiting for everybody to come in, because that way I can do something at least. I don't have all my stamp sets done because I think I'm going to take a bunch of my, I think I want to take my a bunch of the wood block stamps off the wood. I'm finding that kind of like it's hard to do and decide I really want to do that because I've had wood block stamps for so long, but they take up so much space, and I have a whole bunch of the clear acrylic stamps. Yeah, torn edges are not going to work when you start using a punch, Barbara. That much I will tell you. To tear the edges. Hi, Teresa. Uh-oh, did I miss somebody coming in? I hope not. No, okay. Yeah, I could, but I don't like to use my rotary cutter sitting down. And I don't think I would like torn edges trying to stick it up against the edge of this. So I'll just wait, and that'll be okay. I have a few cut out. Maybe I can punch them since I did get out some punches. I'll cut these pieces of paper and then I'll do a couple punches. I'm going to do my little broke page here in a few minutes. But yeah, I can go. I have a guillotine cutter. I could cut them easily with the guillotine cutter, but you know, you can't use that on this space. I did clean up my table, so I actually have space on both sides. But I guess that's maybe all of this I have out. Yeah, that's okay. I can do something different. Yeah, I could use I use my rotary cutter a lot, but just not on this table. I just not sitting down. So I'm not sure I've used this punch before. We're going to see how it works. We're going to just use it on this narrower piece of paper. How do I want to do this? Do I want to start on an edge? I think maybe we will pull it back. Even these are hard to use on the table. This is really pretty. This could be cut apart and used individually. Hi, Sherry. I think that would be cool to maybe I'll do a couple of these so that I can use one in my book today. This is a new punch I got while I was on my trip. I hadn't used it yet. Okay. Your butterfly cuts like that? Ooh, that would be fun. I would like that. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking when I want to do the double-sided ones, like this one, is that this would make a really cool belly band. You could just put embellishments on it, and it'd make a great belly band. So, but you kind of, if you're going to punch out a bunch of stuff, you kind of have to have something that's going to hold them. that I had thought I would use this tray like that. The problem with it is then I'm going to have to start to dig for things. And I think keeping it in the other thing would be better. I just kind of think it would be better. I really like this one too. And this one, when you cut it out, it's really cool because it gives you all these little like embellishments, as well as the design on the band on the edge. I'll show it to you in a minute. There's little leaves and acorns that are left over after the fact. Which I think is really cool. Come here. Stay level. You got your book started but haven't had the strength to finish it. I haven't had time to finish a bunch of stuff. Okay, why that didn't punch out and come back out? Huh. Just what I don't want. I'll have to send this one out to the shop with Jeffrey to it didn't punch good for some reason. Well, the end of this one's all messed up, but that's just what it is. I really like that one though. But then, see, you end up with all of these little leaves and these really tiny little acorns. So I want to do some with this one, especially with some like glitter paper. Yeah, that's what I always like this one. It's you know, this one gives you multiple like uses out of it. Where's this really wide one? I made a really wide one because I'm hoping. Can I do this on both sides? Oh, I didn't make it wide enough. That's interesting. That's all right. Anyways, that's kind of my plan for when I get a chance. But in the meantime, let's just do a little journal page. I need to get out my junkies. Some of my punches work better than others. That much I'll tell you. And I've had Jeff take them out to the shop and punch aluminum foil with them. That's one thing you can do when they start sticking, is wax paper or aluminum foil sometimes helps them. I'm not sure, but what that was just my not being. Hi, Julie. I'm not sure if that was just because my I wasn't sitting in a way that would help to do it. Look, that's really pretty, and it could have some of this on it. This is my um, little bits and pieces bin. I like that piece of crayon paper. Excuse me. Not sure what all I'm going to use yet. Just kind of looking to see what I've got. I do have bugs. You know, I always have bugs around. Mm-mm-mm. Well, let's see here. I wonder if that's enough little pieces. We'll set that aside and see. Just a minute. Okay. Now then, we have to find a page. For some reason, I think we need some solid color, that kind of solid color like cardstock that goes with that of some sort. Yeah. Any of those might work. Now, do we have some kind of plain paper to put on there? Something. Oh, my door's got too much junk in it. I don't like the back side of those tags. They of these they need something on them because they're just kind of ugly on the back. So I'm just looking for some paper of some sort that goes with what we got going here. Oh, you know what? I might get some of that brown paper that I have. Yep. That might work. That's a plain colored piece. Here's a piece of music paper. We'll see if we want some of that. Then, okay. I've got some brown paper. Look at Gonna have to get you a trunk and give up your lucky draws. Something like that, maybe, Teresa. Let me see. I need to back up a little bit, though, because you can't really see what I'm doing, can you? Sorry about that. Don't want to go too far, but Okay. I do like how this came out last week. I'm very pleased with how my little journal came out. Um, I'm thinking that I might turn this into a pocket. And I'm thinking I'm going to work on this page. Yeah, I like how the cardboard cover came out. I really, really like this. I like having left some of that mess on there. We also need a couple of clamps because it's not wanting to stay down. Or stay open. Whatever we want to call it. Okay, now then, do I have any of that shiny stuff that would go with this? By the way, guys, I used this one the other day. I don't know, last week sometime. And just a minute, I'm looking for something else. By keeping the pad moist with a baby wipe, I was able to wash it without any problems when I got done with this live stream the other day. So just putting the baby wipe in between there and keeping it moist with a baby wipe kept it just fine. Now Sherry told me you're supposed to moisten them first, but I didn't remember being told that. So it's not, it's whatever you do, but you definitely don't want to leave this stuff in your sponges because it'll turn your sponge rock hard. But I want to I'm going to gild this a little bit. Don't know why all of a sudden I'm into making things shiny, but and you definitely do not want much on this sponge. It only takes a tiny little bit. Fine wax, yep. Okay, let's find us a baby wipe for the time being. Typed your name with Barbara's name. Oh, okay. That's more bronzy gold than I expected it to be. I was afraid it was going to be a little too bright, and I'm really actually happy with it. It looks kind of cool. Okay, now all I did last time was take this baby wipe and stick it in the hole and then stick my thing in. Okay, not super tight, but in there. And that way it just kind of keeps it, yeah, I like the sheen on the edge. And especially since it's kind of a kind of an earthy color page in some respects, what I'm planning on. So I just want to get this glued down so that it's already glued when I want to start putting stuff into it. Yeah, I just don't like having to try to clean my fingers up every time, Julie. That's and some reasons why I don't. Okay, we're going to just set that aside for a minute. Is that caught a cut in it anywhere? No, but okay. We'll set that up there. Okay. Like I said, these are paint things, and I really don't want to. I want to have something on the back that covers this up. So, and I have lots of brown paper, so this will work perfectly. And yes, I'm giving it a very large. This would be something that would be fun to stitch around, but I'm not going to today. But I think we're probably going to need a third. Yeah, I've got baby wipes and all, but it just, for some reason, it just doesn't always make me. I think we need a third tag, so we're going to just set that aside for a minute while it dries and get another piece of paper out. You know, we wouldn't want to have just 2 tags. And I started to say I'm leaving a bunch of space around it because I want to tear them out. So we're just going to let that sit for a minute while I tear the other two out. And I think I want my funky tear ruler. Okay. I don't want it to be exact, but I wanted it to be fairly straight. See, this would be something that would be fun to just stitch around then. I have to remember that. Thanks, Julie. I just don't like the backs, and you know, it's like I also wanted to have some reason to put to use these as tags, but I wanted something on the back, so that makes it kind of like it belongs. Okay. One more. But I think stitching around it. Okay, now I would say if I was going to stitch around these, I would not use art glitter glue. I prefer if I'm going to stitch something, I really prefer to use glue stick. And you want to make sure it dries really well before you start sewing, but it dries. It doesn't. I don't know. It's just a little thinner and dries us a little different. And I think when you're sewing it with your sewing machine, it's just a wiser choice. It's gonna be warm in here today, and I know I have the air conditioner turned on. So, okay. Now then, there are some words down here, and there's some words up there. They would be fine, but you know, we've got stuff we can cover them up with. So I really do like this. Okay. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use a little piece of this fabric, which is just some little scrap of upholstery fabric, and I'm going to put it on these tags in different ways, just little chunks of it. But I really like this piece because it's got this flower on it. So okay. I'm wondering if this will fray. Where the stitches won't be, put the glue in the middle. Yeah, you could, but if I just use glue stick and let it dry, it seems to work very well. So that's what I've done in the past. Okay, this is lovely. I have a new little tool given to me by a friend. My friend that travels with us. We were in a store in Amarillo with Lisa, Texas Lisa, and she bought us these. Helen bought us these. Aren't they beautiful? It's a really pretty seam ripper. And I have it over here because I thought I might use it over here. And I think I'm going to like having it over here because then I don't have to go hunt one to do something like this. Isn't that pretty, Julie? It now it comes with this little thing. Getting it, oh, sorry, this little thing. Getting it back on is not always easy, but um, and I leave my what do you call that thing? My X-Acto knife open in front of me in a tray, but for some reason I keep putting this thing back on, the cap back on this thing, because it's kind of scary. Okay. How much of it do I want to pull out? How much do I want to spend time doing this? There we go. If I were separating it the other way, it would probably come right off. Oh, my kid is noisy. He asked me if it was going to bother me. I told him no. I'm going to leave it hanging off, too. Okay, Barbara. They're just busy. I'm going to take a little bit off on this side, too. Not a lot, just a little bit. Okay. And guys, I'm going to have to excuse myself for a minute. I'll set this back down here. I'll be right back. I have got to go turn the air conditioner down. Or, yeah, down. I'll be right back. I'm sorry, guys. Usually by this time of the day, my studio is freezing. The hi, Dana. The thermostat is in the other end of the house. Okay, Barbara. And so when the sun starts hitting the other end of the house, it keeps running because it gets warm back there, and in my studio it gets cold. Yeah, hi, Sharon. Julie was feeling alone in chat. She really was. Okay, I'm working on this one. I'm going to leave it where it hangs off a little bit. So let's put that down. I think I'm gonna use these clips real quick to maybe hold it down while I figure out what I'm doing next. Let's see, I have thinking I might use some washi tape since I never use my washi tape. I like that piece. Maybe this one. Let's see. Strawberries warm from the sun. Oh my. I think they just all get busy, Julie. I'm just glad they're all here. They're watching. Okay, so I want to use some washi tape. And I think we're going to go, let's see, this way with it. Yep. Okay. And you guys know how I trust washi tape. Not. So we're going to get some glue. We didn't get home in time to get blueberries this year, so I'm going to have to settle for the ones I've got in the freezer, which isn't a lot left. We still have some, but not a lot. Okay. I need to rip this because I don't like it square up there. There we go. Okay, come on, end. Probably be easier if I ripped it before I stuck it down, but that's okay. Julia, I'm pretty sure it is. Okay, so we have that and that. Now we need We need one of those things to attach it, to pull it. And I'm thinking, uh-oh, don't like that. Tear it the other direction. Okay. Where's my gold stuff? Oh, that'll work. When you're crafting, you're extremely silent. Don't talk much, yeah. You know, it's honestly sometimes it's hard to live stream because I would think that it would be easier to not have to chat, because when I'm trying to think about what I'm doing, it's hard to talk. My brain doesn't always work. Okay, y'all know I don't like the back side of the staple, so I'm just going to glue one of these little leaves on there. Oh. And Dana, that's always good if you chat more than others. I just think y'all would get bored if I didn't talk, because I certainly don't do stuff that's super exciting. Okay, I'm going to hold that down for a minute, and then we're going to figure out what's next. We need some words. I know that. We're going to have some words. Not sure what kind yet, though. Okay, so that's the back of our tag. This is the front of our tag. And of course, we're going to put a few of these on here. Might as well go ahead and do it. No, I want to see where I want to put my words. So I need to find words. Where did I go this trip? Oh, it's more about where didn't we go. We went west first into Arizona. Went to the Grand Canyon. Which not just the Grand Canyon. We went several places, but before we went to the Grand Canyon, we went to Petrified National Park, Petrified Wood National Park, Petrified Forest National Park. Can't remember how it goes. Forest, I think. We went. Let's see what we can find in this. I think I'm going to use some numbers too. We went from there into Nevada. We saw 7 national parks, I think 16 national monuments. We went into Nevada, spent a couple of weeks in Nevada because we were at doing involved in a rally. Oh, shoot. Make a mess. Just make a mess. And then we went back into Arizona and Utah. No, back into Utah, then Arizona. Let me think where else. We spent a fair amount. We spent quite a while in Utah because we saw several things there. And then we went we were headed to Yellowstone and the Grand Tetons and ended up not doing that. End up in Wyoming and Nebraska and Iowa and then Jeff and I had to go to Elkhart, which is where we had to have some work done on the rig. So it was a good trip, other than we had numerous problems. We managed to tear up a brand spanking new tire on the Jeep and had to wait a week in Utah to get a new one. Stuff like that. So okay. That covers that up, and I don't want to do that. Okay, this is how it's gonna go. But we have a problem with the rig, so we had to go to Elkhart, and now they're picking it up and taking it back again. So we had to get home. Things were, the mama and papa things that we have going on were just becoming stuff where we had to come home. Jeff's brother was about worn out. Okay. Oh, wow. North Carolina is really a pretty place. Okay, we are going to stick these in multiple places. Come on, come off my finger. Those little acorns are really tiny. A pair of tweezers probably would be a good idea. This one does not want to stick down. Okay. Oh, now I have too much glue there. We saw a couple of national parks that we had already been to before because our friends that have been traveling with us recently had not been to them. Okay, I need, where is my, that is not what I want. Now I wonder if that's still in one of my other bags. Don't really want to fight with that. Okay, there's one. I need to do some gel printing too. I have not done that in so long. Okay. That's one tag down. Boy, that took a while. Bye, Sharon. Oh, Barbara's leaving. Okay, so we got one tag to go in our thing. Let's do the next one. Okay, where'd my seam ripper go? There it is. You know, if I ever knew ahead of time what, maybe a little box of fabric pieces that already have all the edges pulled off would be a thing to do. I have a yawning neighbor cat outside. I have my son's out in the driveway changing the oil for a kid he works with in a car that apparently is a real pain in the keister. Anyways, he was concerned that it would bother my live stream today, and I was like, no, I don't see that it will. Yes, I can hear them, but they're not being so loud that the problem is the shop's his truck's just disassembled in the shop, so he couldn't actually do it in the shop. So Jeff's Jeep is taken apart in the backyard. Brandon's truck's taken apart in the shop. It's just been like that around here. And Brandon's worked, I think, well, wait a minute. I think he had one day off last week, but he's worked pretty much every single day. So it's all happening. Uh-huh. Okay. There we go. That gives me a little piece of something. Kind of like that. This was in my trash bin, so it's a little feather. It's not really gold enough, though. I want it to be more gold. Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. I actually think I'm going to use a stapler. What did my hubby? Oh, he worked for NRCS when he retired. He had done multiple things with the federal government for his entire lifetime. So NRCS is Natural Resource Conservation Services. Basically, he was a public affairs official liaison between the federal government and, when he retired, and ranchers. He worked at Offutt Air Force Base when 9/11 hit, so he was at that time a public affairs officer between the base and the local city government. So he did multiple things over his lifetime of federal career. He started out as a photographer. This just doesn't want to stay down. I don't like how it's popping up from the thing, so we'll just glue it down a little bit. We both have degrees in photography. And he started out, the technicality of his job said he was a photographer, but that changed very early on. Okay, now I need to cover this up a little bit, but I can do that with a word. I need to cover up back here. I don't like those. But yeah, he had 32 years with the federal government. He could have retired at 30, but the extra 2 gave us a little bit better retirement. So sometimes you do things that you don't really want to do. It's really funny. Jeff and I went to the same school, took many of the same classes, but our degrees are really different. I actually have 2 degrees. I have a Bachelor of Arts in Fibers and a Bachelor of Science in Photography. And Jeff has a master's too, but he has his photography degree was in Bachelor of Science, and then he has a second degree, second bachelor's in photojournalism. So, okay, so we need a word. Yeah, we need a word. I like that. Yeah, there we go. I like friendship. It's a good word. Let me see. Gotta do what pays the bills. That's right. That's what he did. That's what we did. I did a lot of things, Dana. Unfortunately, with Jeff working for the federal government, we did a lot of moving. This is our 8th house. So, moving every time we moved, my job kind of got changed. I worked a couple of places when we first were together that was photographically related. Things like places where they develop photographs or stuff like that. And then I got a job managing a sewing machine dealership. which kind of I did for a long time because I worked for 3 different dealerships in the course of moving around. When we were in Texas, I managed. Oh shoot, that is just not going to want to stick. Hi, Juju. Welcome, welcome. I hope I didn't miss anybody else coming in. This is not sticking, so we're going to switch this out to some lovely sticky stuff. For some reason, it's just not sticking to that piece of fabric, which is, you know, it is what it is. Okay, let's put that back on, though. Hold it down. Guys, I really hope I've spoken to everybody and said hello to everybody. Anyways, I managed Bernina dealerships, sewing machine dealerships. And I actually did that for in 3 different places. I started here in Pensacola with one dealer, and when we went to Texas, I didn't have any problem getting this job with them, and they were one of the top 5 dealers most of the years I was out there. Then when we come back here, by then I had my son, and I wasn't going to go back to work right away, and I definitely didn't want to work retail. So I went into the dealership in Crestview, and the first thing Margie said to me was, "When are you coming to work for me?" When she realized who I was. And I said, "I don't want to work." And she said, "Oh, please, please, please." So I taught her specialty sewing classes and her Bernina club and stuff like that for as long as we were in Crestview. Worked out well. Okay, this one's simple, but I like it. However, are we gonna? I'm gonna have to put a little bit of glue right there. I don't like how that's twisting. Yeah, it was, but Berninas are still pretty well received because they're really pretty cool machines as far as quilting goes. And the dealership in Crestview is now mostly a quilt store. I mean, she's a dealership plus a quilt store. She originally started with all kinds of fabric, but now she mostly has. I like that one. It came out really cute. Okay, so that's 2. Now we have a 3rd one. Okay. I have a glue stick here somewhere. There we go. Then after I did that for a while, and Brandon went back to school, or started school, not went back to school, but started school. Because I was at school all the time, I was volunteering at school pretty much all the time. So somewhere along the line, while we were in Alabama, I needed to get a job, you know, and we needed extra funds like everyone. And Alabama has this thing. Well, a lot of places have that thing where you don't have to have a college degree even to substitute teach. So I was substitute teaching, and then they asked me to come in as a para in the classroom. And so when we went to Nebraska, I did that. And then after that, I started making beads, Dana, and I've been doing that for 25 years. So I guess I should tell you I've been making beads. It's called Half a Year Sewing and 7. Absolutely loved it. The next 3 appears there was no sewing classes to choose from. I was 4 when I started sewing things, and by the time I was in high school, I made an awful lot of my clothes, simply because I could have more that way. By the way, all of this stuff came out of my scrap bin earlier. If you guys didn't know. Well, I shouldn't say that because I've been using washi tape, and that didn't come out of my scrap bin. But Mom made a lot of our clothes when I was little, but then I started sewing my clothes not long after that. Might not have been my school clothes, might have been play clothes and stuff like that. But I will tell you that my son learned to use a sewing machine. Oh, he was probably about 3 when he learned to use a sewing machine. I had to turn the foot pedal backwards, and it was on a box underneath the sewing machine. When he learned to play with my sewing machine, he was probably about 3. The day I ran a needle 5 stitches through my thumb, and it was stuck. My thumb was stuck under the sewing machine like that. Banking and CAT scan. Yeah. One of the things I never did was I did a lot of retail off and on between, college. Oh, in college, I stuffed newspapers. Used to be all the advertisements that are in newspapers had to be stuffed into there by hand. And that's what I did because it was in the middle of the night, and so that the paper could be delivered in the morning, and that way I didn't have to miss classes or anything like that. So I stuffed newspapers. But I never waited tables. My sister was a really good waitress. I'm just not. I don't think I can remember things well enough. Okay, let's get some more off of this other side. My son can fix things. He fixes his jeans and he fixes his clothes, and he will come and ask me what needles in the sewing machine because he knows I sew weird things on my sewing machine, so he knows better than to just sit down and try to use it on his garment. So but yeah, in junior high school, when, we had to take home ec, we had to. So, of course, I took the sewing part because I knew how to sew. And that only caused problems because, first off, the first thing we were supposed to make was an apron. And it's like, I'm not going to wear an apron. Why would I bother making an apron? And then I can't remember what the other thing we had to make was, and teacher wasn't exactly pleased with the fact that I was making something else for that either, but that's neither here nor there. Yeah, um, we've I sew more. I have sewn more than probably my sisters have. Um, I don't know if that's because mom had more time to teach me, or just it wasn't in their interest and wheelhouse when both my sisters can sew. Um, but I think I've of course then I did it for sort of a job for a while, so there, that's better. I need, okay, I don't know what I need here. Furniture restoration, yeah. Well, when I was in the 7th grade, I made I don't know if y'all would know what I say if I say it was an Eisenhower jacket. Short jacket, buttons down the front, buttons on the cuffs, military style, and a pair of shorts and a long skirt that was buttoned up the front. So in other words, I did about 50 buttonholes and buttons fitted, and the teacher was not exactly happy. So, okay, guess I need to stick this down with some. Part of sewing was saving money back then. Part of sewing was not being able to buy this kind of clothes that I wanted to buy because they just didn't make them. Oh, I need a bigger clip. There we go. Okay. Thank you, Julie. Um, when I was in South Dakota and I was working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day making beads. So needless to say, my brain was a little I uncreative. By the time, you know, you get done working like that, you lose a little your creativity when your art becomes your job. It's not necessarily always fun. So one of the first channels I started watching was Dee Dee, I think. And oh, and Tisha Moore. That's another one I watched quite a bit. Oh, that may be too long. Yeah, it is. Oops. That's okay. And so by starting to get into, and I've always loved paper. Paper's always been one of those things. I scrapbooked, you know. I made cards. I was a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator for a while before we got to South Dakota. I need a, whatchamacallit. I've got gold stuff on my fingers. I don't want it everywhere. And so I've always done that kind of stuff. And then I just started doing more of the collage and more of the mixed media and more paper stuff, I guess. Yeah, I didn't even know what any of that stuff was when we were in Nebraska, Dana. That's when I started doing Stampin' Up. Yes. I do not have any organizational skills. Now, I'm pretty sure I have a lot of skills I haven't used, but you know, organizational skills are not one of them. I've always been messy. I've never been very good at organizing things. I can usually keep myself together, but that's about it. Okay, I need to hold this down on this fabric. The fabric does not want to take glue. And if y'all could see the mess I have in my studio, you would understand that there is very little organizational skills going on around here. And I keep trying, but it doesn't get any better. Okay. Yes, I'm going to have to put more glue under that. Okay, I think we need a couple of these on there. I'm very messy. And I keep trying. And there are, okay, I will tell you that in the past year, I've learned, I've tried organizing things some ways that just, other people use. Like I told you earlier, notebooks do not work for me. They just don't. Trying to put stuff in a notebook, trying to use it out here on the table, notebooks don't work. Um, and unfortunately, before I realized that, I had put a bunch of my stuff into notebooks. So now I'm trying to go back and figure out what does work as far as when I'm playing. And that means that I have a mess, but at the same time, I'm trying to get it cleaned up. So, okay, we need a couple of these. Oh, yeah, we do. We need a couple of those. Okay. Yeah, if it doesn't work, it's hard. It's hard to use the things you have if the way you're storing them does not work. And while it may work for other people, it just does not work for me sometimes. Okay. Those little acorns are a real pain. They just keep wanting to go elsewhere. Okay, now I need to have some kind of thing on the top of this one. I had my stencils all in notebooks, Dana, and it just wasn't working. So I put them in, what do you call it? Page protectors, and I have them in like a box. It's not a box. It's angled on the sides a little bit. That way I can flip through them, and I'm really liking that. It's working very well. Okay, I have this little piece left, and I'm thinking I might just do a thing like that. Oh no, I had this out. Maybe we can do something with that instead. Yeah, let's do this. Okay, that means I need a hole. Um, let's go in there. This was just a little piece of embroidery floss that was in my the stuff that's on my desk box. So we'll see if I can make it work. But that seems to be working. I'm using them more than I did before because they're in a stored in a manner that I seems to work for me. That's my problem. I have to have it so it works for me. And I had my stamps and the acrylic ones in a notebook and my embossing folders in a notebook. And there again, I just didn't like either one of those things in notebooks. So putting them in the little bins that I put them in, the way I put them in page protectors seems to be working. I've used them more since I did that, and I'm happier with them. So have your stamps and sleeves in a box. Yeah, that's basically how mine is, except I have so many wood stamps. Okay, so here are my 3 tags. Okay. Why I needed 3, don't know, just did. But I think this needs something on it. It needs some kind of little decoration. Squirrel. Yeah. Um, One of these days, I'm going to take a lot of my wood block stamps and take them off and put them in the same kind of tub as I have my acrylic stamps, because I think that would work very well. I don't think I'd be unhappy with it. It's time, and trying to take care of 94-year-old people. And if one of Jeff or one of the other has to run over to Dad's every day and make sure he takes his pills, because some days he does and some days he doesn't. Make sure he hasn't fallen down, get his groceries, stuff like that. My mother was kind enough to understand that I just couldn't do that for her every day. So we moved her, when she decided she couldn't drive anymore, we moved her to assisted living. So, but I still have, doctor's appointments and constant weirdness, like her her clock being dead and stuff like that. Things to go shopping for, but it's not an everyday thing. It's usually 2 or 3 times a week thing. Some of my stamps made plastic sleeves from acetate. Julie, I did show you what I did with mine, didn't I? With page protectors? With the acrylic ones, I used page protectors and made my own like little sleeves. Okay, I thought I did, Julie. I wouldn't call it an apartment, Dana, but she has her own space. My mother is still coherent enough to take care of giving herself her own meds in the mornings and in the evenings. Um, her room is kind of small, if you ask me. It would drive me crazy to have such a small space, but she doesn't do anything anymore. Her hands won't let her sew, and so she does those round knitting loom things where you can make hats. She makes hats for the cancer um, cancer society here to give away. So I do hunt yarn and stuff for her. Um, she does that, and she reads some. She's not reading as much as she used to. I do buy a lot of books for her. Library book sales are very good for that. And she does word search puzzles. Okay. So, she's more capable of taking care of herself than Jeff's dad is, which is a good thing. But like calling in her meds and stuff, she can't do that anymore. She can't hear well enough on the phone, and pharmacies have gone all automatic and stuff like that, and she can't. It just floors her every time, and if you change anything, it kind of does her in. She has her days where she doesn't remember stuff, but okay, we're gonna go with this together. They did, but the place where she lives now has changed hands. I've already moved her twice. Um, Decent spaces for that is just really hard. I don't know. They used to go out to eat every other week. They don't now. They had a trip to, they would go to Walmart or Target or one of those places every other week. Mom would not go for that. She just wouldn't go. She won't play games, which, a lot of what they do is playing bingo and things like that. And she will not do that. And at 94, she's allowed to forget and she's allowed to do anything she wants. So that's fine. But the facility she's at has changed things again. And so there's no activities director. They did, however, bring in a company that is doing physical therapy, which I've gotten that sorted back out. She's doing occupational and physical therapy again, which she really needs. And she enjoys that. So, if she didn't enjoy it, I wouldn't force it on her, but she does enjoy it. Yay! She found something. That's always a good thing. Okay, why are you not sticking down? But it seems like, every time they get somebody, they lose them. The kitchen is where she's at is down staff again. It just is. Found by accident. Yay! It's always good to find things by accident. Okay. There we go. So this is today's page. It has a little pocket. It has 3 little tags. And it's going to need to have a clip on it right there. But before I put a clip on it, let me find my pen and I will put the date on this page. Thanks, Julie. You were talking to me? Uh-oh. Oh, to hubby. Okay. Okay, where can I get this date in? Today is July 27th. $20.25. And like I said, I need to put a clip on this. It's just not wanting to stick. So I'm just going to go like that. And then I'll set it up there. Thanks, guys. Dang, it's almost 3:30 already. I clean up this mess just a little bit because, you know, at the moment there's just too much of it. Okay. And if I don't clean up some of it, I can't function. I have learned this about myself. Okay, let's put this back where it belongs. Put these up. Okay. Dang, is this studio warm today? It really, really is. Okay, which end do you go in? Huh. I guess this one. Huh. It's not going to go back on easy, that's for sure. Okay. There we go. There we go. Okay. Try to clean up 3 times, it's still working. Yep. Julie, I wouldn't tell you that I'm all that good at that. I kind of roll with it. If it doesn't come out the way I like it, then I'm just not going to worry about it because, you know, it's just a little paper glue and time. I'm going to throw that away. I think I'll throw that away. I think I will save these little leaves because, you know, we want to save them. I think I actually have a little. Okay, we'll put this little crayon thing back. Oh, I had some more embroidery floss, didn't realize that. That's okay, got what I needed. Put those back in my little scrappy bits. And these things go back in the other drawer. I fussy cut the white and black collage book from Debbie, and now I'm gluing them to Scrabble pages. Well, thank you, Julie. They would be good with gold splatter on them, but splattering that tiny of a leaf might be difficult. Hi, Sherry. Sherry was here. Sherry was here earlier. My scrap drawer behind me is full, full, full. I need to find a way to use some of those up. This up. Uh-oh. Come here. Oh, there we go. Little piece of paper got caught in my strings. I need to put my washi tape away. Okay. Ugh. Now, these were all in here before. Why can't you go back in? There you go. Use a toothbrush finer splatters? Yeah. Uh-oh. Put part of it away, but not all of it. Is it going to go in between there? I don't know. There we go. It's all right. There. Okay, guys, I'm going to have to excuse myself for just a minute. I'll be right back, okay? Tea bottle's empty. Or now it is. I'll be right back. Wow, sorry, guys. Yay, it fit. Okay, I'm very happy with that. I'm really happy with the little book. I really like this. I'm thinking this would be a fun. It would be fun to do something like this, bigger for writing in or whatnot. Would have to not have this on the front of it if I was going to tote it around, because I think that would get knocked off. But it's I'm going to leave it open so I'm sure it's dry. Okay, let's see what's next. I guess since I can't work on the thing I wanted to work on, I guess I will work on my book, which is not stitched together yet. See, especially since how I had to take it apart a little bit. Okay, where is it? Which one is it? Which one has holes in it? Okay, this one's it. I would really like to get my postcard books finished. But having made a mistake last time I worked on it wasn't a good thing. So and since it's already 3:30 and I only have about another half an hour or so before my eyes are done. This is another thing that's causing issues. My eyes are... Oh, and I broke a stupid tooth. I don't know. It's just ridiculous. Okay, let's see where we're at. We are at October 31st. And if I do this upside down over here, yes, October 30th. Okay. So I have to make my own self a dentist appointment. Not sure where my sister has been today. I'm also hoping Texas Lisa's doing okay because I haven't seen her come in. Oh, I hate the beginnings of these books. There we go. If I do it like that, you can at least see the whole postcard. Not that they're all they're exciting, but at least you can kind of see them. Okay, that was weird. Okay, you need to have, I need to have two strands, and for some unknown reason, all of a sudden I only had one. There we go. I don't know why, but I mean, as many of these books as I've done, as I have, and I haven't gotten them finished, you'd think I would have maybe some time during the week to get them done, but that doesn't seem to happen. It is nice to work on something and have you guys talk to me, though. Hopefully, after Lisa gets her hip replaced and stuff, she'll feel like being back online. Because I miss her. I miss having her on here with me. Okay, why is this tied in a knot? There we go. At your house, you mean, Julie? I hope so too, but yeah. I hope those noises are at your house, not at my house. Because I did hear earlier when the boys were outside doing that oil change, but Brandon's done with that. That was a car just now. Oh, in your neighborhood. Yeah. I'm getting creepy crawly paper noises behind me over here, like something's gonna fall. It's like, okay, what's gonna craft a lich? Mm-hmm. Okay, that's 29. This one's 29. We also are only like 3 or 4 blocks from a major road, big 4-lane road. So we get a lot of screaming, racing type car noises. Not so much on Sunday, but in the evenings, especially. We don't even have this kind of motorhome anymore. That we were at Red Bay for work when these postcards were sent, and we don't even have that one anymore. Oh, you were thinking bugs or Earl the snake? What glue should I use to glue down an acetate bird? Um, I'd probably use my art glitter glue, Julie. Now, what is that? There's something else a lot of people use to glue acetate. Crystal effects, something like that. It's not. They don't. I don't think they sell it as a glue. Um, but I would probably use my art glitter glue. And I would only put a few little dots on because it will show. Double tape or art glitter. Yeah. Juju, yeah. Double-sided tape would work if you can hide it, but acetate's usually gonna show through. I'm trying to watch the dates as I flip these over because I really messed up last time I worked on this. I had at least a couple dozen pages in, and they were wrong. I missed one. Barely art glitter glue. Yeah, barely using a bit of art glitter glue. It dries clear, but with the acetate there, you probably will see it just a little bit. How about your sewing machine, Julie? Instead of any glue, sew around the edges of it. Okay. There we go. Now, if you do that and you sew through acetate with your sewing machine, you need to clean and oil your sewing machine when you're done. Okay? I mean, that acetate down in your race area is not going to be good for it. So you want to make sure to clean and oil it, and you don't want to use that needle for anything besides acetate or paper. You have something else on that? Yeah, see, that doesn't, yep. The other thing is, could you sew it to a background piece and then use the background piece of paper to glue it down? Trying to give you options. Anyway, so I get to go to the dentist this week because I broke my tooth. Not happy about that. What's really bad is it's a front tooth. Didn't even realize it was cracked. Just had this little sharp protrusion on the back of it, and I was like, what in the world? And I have no idea what I bit into that I broke it on. Too late. All right, our glitter glue it was. I think epoxy might melt it, Teresa. I'm not sure. I don't know that I would. I don't know. I'd try to use epoxy. Epoxy is such a pain in the keister when you're just trying to put down a couple pieces of paper. Is Mama Juju April, Teresa? Is that why you call her this? The 600 glue? I don't remember what 600 glue, but it's a 600. I don't know. I use a E6000 glue, but that's just gooey. It doesn't really work for paper. I use it when I'm sticking, I don't know, shoes back together or, stuff like that. Yes, Mama Juju is April. Well, sorry, April. I'm the worst about remembering, and I didn't look today. I do have my list, but I guess I was being lazy. I got to finish this book this week. I just got to sit down here one night and do it. Usually by the time night comes, I'm tired. Yeah, E6000 is not what I would use to stick any kind of papers together. I use E6000 quite a bit, actually. Thank you, April. I've got these state, what are those called? Flashcards. I need to glue them all to some backing cards because they're the wrong side for postcards. But if they were glued on already, I wouldn't have to always try to make one at night, because sometimes we come back to the rig tired and I don't feel like making a postcard. Oh, thank you, Teresa. Yes, thumbs would be greatly appreciated, guys. It really would. Maybe if I can get this one bound through the week, I can we can decorate it next weekend. I do know that I'm going to get out the big cutting mat and my rotary cutter and cut up more strips so that I can do some punching next weekend. I'd really like to get some of that. Some of these things I want to do, I have lists and lists and lists, and I'd really like to get some of that done, but Julie, are you sending me pictures? Oh, that's pretty. Come here. Isn't Julie's picture pretty? Will you post it, Julie? Is the bird is acetate? I gotta have different glasses. That's really cool. And I like it so far. I like it. I like the pattern paper. I love pattern paper. I should use it more. I just don't. I have plenty. Vellum or something similar. Vellum is another thing you have to be really careful with glue because it just shows so much. I would just use tiny bits of art glitter glue on vellum. I got some really cool vellum a while back and I haven't used any of it. I need to start using my stuff. But you know, when I do these tiny little journal pages, I don't use very much stuff for some unknown reason. Do I think it needs more thing? This can make you say bad words. Yeah, it can make you say bad words. Just a minute again. I'll look at it again, Julie. 1 second. I needed to remember where I was at. Oh shoot, where's it at? I'm thinking, Julie. I'm really thinking about it. I don't think you want a ton more stuff. Okay, please understand that I don't mean anything bad, but right now it's a little symmetrical to me. It's balanced real nice, but it's almost too even. Does that make sense if I said that? Are you gonna put any words on it? I think it doesn't need any more stuff, but I think it might need words. And if you do words, I would get it to where it's, like make it uneven. Does that make sense? Offset. Thank you, April. Offset a word. Yes, thank you. Offset it so that it's either up here or over there or something so that it's kind of. Yeah, sure. I think it just needs a really it needs a good word, and then maybe just not, don't put it in the middle. That's what I'm trying to say. Don't put it in the middle. Put it offset it. Yes. I love the colors and everything in it though, Julie. It's really pretty. Twitter paid it. It's to, oh yes. Oh, balance out the little birds. Yeah, maybe do that. I had to talk to hubby. He is out of town. Oh, where's he at this time, Dana? Doesn't he goes out of town a fair amount, doesn't he? I can't remember, but I think he does. Miami. Uh-huh. It's funny, people see our Florida tags. We're all over the country. People see our Florida tags, and they all think of South Florida. They don't realize that there's part of Florida's up here. Jacksonville to Miami, yeah, that's a ways. But you're kind of in the middle between Jacksonville and Miami, aren't you? Maybe more on the west side of the state, though. Waiting for the ship to come in. Uh huh. Yeah, that's what I thought, that you were kind of central. Twitter sounds good. I will see what I can find, though. Do you have any letter stamps, Julie? If you have little letter stamps, you could stamp out Twitter on a separate piece of paper, and then, um, oh, and if you do, wiggle them, wiggle the letters. That would be fun because it'd be Twitter. I like Twitter. Good one, Teresa. I actually have. I don't remember if you guys. We did this. I can't remember when we did this. I'm working on these. I was going to shrink them. on the I can't remember what CSX means. Central States. Or, anyways, I've got to work on that another day too. One of these days. And if I put them on the copier, I can shrink those words. My brother worked for the railroad too. He was a boxcar inspector. Um, I have a lot of family in Central Illinois that works for the railroad. Cousins, second cousins, that kind of thing. Uh-oh. Jacksonville is someplace I've never been. I've only been kind of south of the curve in Florida a couple of times. Lived here off and on for 40 years. So now I said off and on because we've been gone a lot too. South Dakota was the longest place we ever lived. And that was way too long. I want to make another zine. I haven't made a zine in so long. Maybe I should do that next weekend instead of anything else. Um, I'll have to think about it because I have to kind of, zines kind of have to have a little bit of planning. I have to kind of think about them ahead of time. So, yeah, maybe I should do a zine next weekend, which kind of means that I might not do a little journal page. I don't know if you how long you've watched April. I used to do a zine every weekend, but I just kind of I don't know. I guess I got out of the habit of doing it or something. Scott's cousin is an engineer. Cool. I have no idea what my cousins do. I have too many cousins to know what most of them do. The ones in Illinois are retired by now. Oh, it's Chessie is what CSX is. Okay. I just loved this postcard. This was like partially an advertisement. I've done stuff to it to make it the postcard, but it was sort of an advertisement for the Sheep and Wool Festival, which we went to in 23. We went to it before as well, but gosh, it's been, oh heck, I didn't get to this was the year my sister took me to a gigantic library craft sale, which was really, really fun. It was like our library book sale, but it was all donated craft stuff. I have to find out if they're going to do that this year, because if they are, we might have to make a little trip to New York. Yep. That would be fun. Chessie Seaboard and the X don't. Okay. You don't suppose the X means like railroad crossing or something, do you, Dana? That's good. I like that. Doesn't mean. Mm-hmm. However, if we're going to go to New York that late in the year, we probably need the Jeep, and I don't know that we'll have the Jeep. Our Jeep has a little issue. Little issue is not the case. It's kind of got a. Uh-oh. Okay. I dropped something on the floor. Okay. Okay, so sometimes this happens to my postcards. And I'm still going to put it in here because I've got I still can read some of what we did that day. So I'm going to put it in here like so. Even though I don't have a whole page because the post office didn't like it. Dana, ours, the frame on ours is rotted out. Jeff noticed a crack while we were gone, and just right before we came home, he noticed a crack, and it's all just rusted away. So he's trying to figure out a way to get it fixed. And so at the moment, the bumper is all off, the trailer hitch is all off. He took the gas tank off a couple of days ago because he has to get to the frame. So, and of course, right before our last trip, we got 4 brand spanking new tires to the tune of, about $250. No, it was more than that, because the one I bought in Moab was $400. So they were $400 a piece, basically. And then we ruined one and had to buy another one. But now we have this issue with the plus we had, while we were on the trip, the front differential bearings got trashed, and we spent $1,000 on that, getting them fixed, and then the guy that fixed them did not do a good job, and we had to have them refixed while we were in Des Moines. Thank heavens we found someone who actually knew what they were doing, because obviously the first four-wheel drive shop did not. So we've sunk a bunch of money into it this year, and it's really not a good time to have to buy a new one. No, that's not. Teresa, my truck is a Ford F-250. It's got a 7.3 liter diesel engine in it, Cummins diesel. No, it's a Ford diesel. No, it's a Cummins. That's the one that smells like vegetable oil or Chinese food or French fries or whatever you want to. No, the Jeep's gas. It's our tow vehicle for when we take the camper, we tow it. And we, ride trails with it, that kind of thing. And Dana, you're right. Jeeps are kind of pricey to maintain. But they're also one of the top vehicles for being towed behind RVs, because you can tow them flat and don't have to have trailers and stuff like that. So, and this one, heavens, we bought this one about 4 years before we left South Dakota. It was used to start with. And Jeff's built it over time. He's put special bumpers on it, winches on it, lift kits on it, fancy tires. By fancy, I mean off-road tires. Stuff to take us in the mountains and in the desert and things like that. And then this year, we had such a hard time because so much of it, we had so much trouble with the Jeep. So, not a big deal. We still got where we wanted to go. We actually had friends that helped us with the tire and all that kind of stuff. So, it's kind of nice having travel buddies. But no, Jeff's driving the pickup right now, and we don't drive the pickup all the time because it's diesel, it's big. I used to drive it. That was anytime I went anywhere, that's what I drove. But Brandon had it when we got in our wreck with our first big RV, and he had it in Omaha in Nebraska, and we were down here, and I needed a car. So I bought a little rodeo. It's a 1993 rodeo. And it has all kinds of things wrong with it, but it still goes, and that's all that matters to me, is that it goes. Oh, Jeff's put way more than that in ours, but we've had it a long time. Osceola Jeeping. I think our Jeep club went to Osceola. We were gone, and we would have probably gone with them because I think that's where they went. And one of the gals hit a bear, but on the road, not on the trail. They had come off the trail and gotten on the road. Yeah. In a year, $2,000 is bad. Sorry. They also leak a lot, Dana. Just so you know, they leak a lot. Um, they're almost every Jeep leaks somewhere. But anyways, I think it was in Osceola that they came off the trail and got on a dirt road, and um, a bear came out of the trees just all of a sudden. They weren't even going that fast because I had just come off the trail, and she hit the bear. She couldn't avoid it. And of course, it upset her. Of course, it upset other people too. Wasn't something she wanted to have happen. Is it new, Dana? Was your Jeep relatively new? And is it a Rubicon? $1995, already lifted and a winch. Yeah, see, that doesn't surprise me that a 95, just as a 2001 Cherokee. And uh, it was, we needed a hard topped, yeah, yours is a Wrangler. Yeah. We needed a hard top Jeep, um, and we needed the 4 doors, and we needed cargo space, because one of the reasons we bought the Jeep was to get my show supplies from the camper to the whatever venue we were in, because I used to do bead shows and knitting conventions and all that kind of stuff with my beads. So we needed something a little more secure. And at the time, um, the the Cherokee was what we found. Now the Cherokee's weird and different than a Wrangler in that it's what they call a unibody, and that's one of the reasons there's a problem with ours. But a 95 is probably a good one. Yeah, yours is a hard top. Yeah, ours has no options for taking the top off. That's, yeah. Um, and of course, he didn't start lifting it and all that stuff for a while. Um, I think he's told me, I think it's got a 4-inch lift kit on it. I think he's got 33-inch tires on it, stuff like that. He could talk all day about Jeeps, and as far as I'm concerned, as long as it gets us up and down the trail and starts every time we get into it, that's all that matters to me. Um, uh, Eventually, I think, if I remember correctly, your rear main seal will leak. It's just standard kind of thing with them. It's probably already been dealt with once at least, as if it's a 95. And it's not a serious issue. It's just one of those things that they do. They weep. They don't really leak. They weep. Jeff had to have a crate engine put in ours because he somehow, what was it that broke? Was it rockers? I can't remember. I have to use the step stool to get in. Yes. Jeffrey made me. Okay, right by the front passenger door, he welded a 1-inch trailer hitch. It's a little square hole that something goes in. So he welded this trailer hitch underneath, and then he made me a step that the trailer hitch piece goes in and it goes down, and then the step comes out, so we can take that off when we go off-roading, so that it doesn't catch on things, because that way I don't have to have a step stool. And I can get in and out easier when we're getting in and out and in and out, like, you know, for shopping or something. But yeah, it worked really well. We lost it on the trip though. Apparently he had it out for a couple of trail rides we did while we were in Nevada, and when he put it back in, he must not have gotten the pin in good. Oh, see, this is a Jeep trip. Um, hmm. Was this a rough trip? Oh no, this is when we went on the National Forest Road. They These were actually more like back roads. They weren't really trails. The other thing we don't do is we don't take any um, extensive trails when we're by ourselves. We will take back roads and Forest Service roads, which are, you know, trails basically, but not they're not super rough and don't have a lot of rock climbing and stuff like that in them. They're more just little tiny trail rides when we're by ourselves, because, you know, it's if you're that far off the road and something happens, like you break something, then you're in trouble. So we usually just do, you know, easier things. You sent some more photos. Wondered if that was you. I'll look in 1 second. Let me get this one tied down. I'm going to go here in a few minutes. You guys do know Ann Lair is probably on. She came on probably around 4 o'clock. She usually does Sunday afternoons. And my eyes are starting to go. At least I can still see chat. Um, okay. Uh-oh. Where did it go? Oh, yeah. I like that, Julie. Okay. Can you guys see where she put her words? Very pretty, Julie. And guys, I think I'm going to go. For one, I'm kind of tired, but my eyes are starting to get to where it is hard to see. So I'm going to roll this up. I don't want these tangled up in my chair like I did last time. Didn't get much done, but at least we had a few little fun things. Anyways, it's not glued. Well, that's okay. You guys have a wonderful night. We'll see you next week. I did get another video done. I did the Coptic stitch binding on my junk mail junk journal thing. So Tuesday, that Coptic stitch binding will be out. I hope it makes sense. I hope it does. Anyways, guys, love you all. We'll talk to you soon. Bye bye.